What up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode. If you've been here before, you'll notice I'm in a different part of the house. I got the records behind me instead of the books. The foyer kind of just it looks a little better. Isn't the lighting just isn't this lighting just awesome? No, but let's get into it. We're dropping in on Trump's first 100 days today. Marks his first 100 days in office. There's going to be some comparisons and contrasts and whatnot from his last term and other presidents and whatnot. So we're going to take a dive into it from the perspective of a hedge fund manager and day trader slash entrepreneur, CEO. I have a lot of titles, but we're going to get into it from the bird's eye perspective and try to, dissect it, pull out the facts, and throw away the fiction. So without further ado, let's get into it. But before we start, hit that like button, hit that sub button, and that bell icon. All that is going to tell the algorithm that this is good content and it needs to get pushed out to other people. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to get some value out of this. All right? So stick around. Let's see what we got here.
Poll at 100 days job approval compared to other presidents. There you see the president at 44%. And you see his first term at 45% at this mark, the 100-day mark. We have other new polls that are revealing some concerns about the economy. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so that's that. Rob, I got another one, if you could show as well. This next one, if I can pull up. Anyways, if I don't have it here, I thought I had it here on my computer. Okay,
Where's
since
that?
I don't have it, I'll go to anybody. Tom, first 100 days, Trump, what do you give him?
Overall, first 100 days, I give it a C+, and I get there this way. An A- on the plan, but a C- on the execution. I thought he got too many things going at once, picking on the Fed, Powell, but I gave the plan an A, but the execution got messy. And so overall, I give it a C+.
Adam.
I'm right there with.
I mean, with execution, I'd be on the side to give him a C- on execution, just because of the fact that China was so extrally prepared for all of this bull jive. So, the plan, I'll give it A-, and then execution, I'll give a C-, because I think he could have approached it slower or prepared America first. And like that kind of goes into the planning and execution of it. So I kind of deduct a little bit more than what they're willing to. They are a little more right wing than conservative. They're more right wing than mid conservative. So I'd imagine my takes are probably going to be a little more strict on Trump, but they don't have too much bias. I'll say they do dissect everything for what it actually is.
Tom, actually, C+, because, it's almost like a team that starts off 10-0. My beloved Miami Heat start off 10-0, and then all of a sudden they go on a 10-game losing streak. But I didn't just go like, this is the grade. I actually went sort of by the most important issues that he talked about. The economy, inflation, immigration, the border, wokeness, DEI, foreign policy, peace through strength, crime, law and order, energy dependence. So each of these categories got a different grade. And I thought that the first, month was awesome. He was signing all these executive orders. He's doing his thing. And then April 2nd, Liberation Day, where he liberated America of like $5 trillion worth of wealth. And nobody saw it coming.
Indeed,
So
he
I
did.
don't understand the methodology for what he was doing with Liberation Day. It would have been better if he just dressed up as Liberace Day and started doing a samba dance or something like that. All right, cool, we'll deal with that. But Liberation Day has backfired.
See, like, and I can understand why most people have that take on it, because the market's like pooped, But the thing is, from a trader standpoint, like hedge funds, banks, any asset managers, they likely made a lot of money through all of this. I know me personally, I made a good bit of money through all the chaos that ensued after the second, and it's because of the fact that I'm not the only one that called out the correction on my major market breakdowns on the channel. I'm sure that there was other people that was calling out, you know, the fact that Nasdaq and, you know, the top tech stocks were probably going to correct, have a pretty deep correction. I don't know who else was predicting it, but I'm pretty sure, you know, somebody else out there was probably seeing the same thing. But we were seeing this. At least me, I won't speak for anybody else. Me personally, and you can go check the channel. It's up on the channel. We were predicting the market correction before Trump was even in the office. You know what I'm saying? And it was just because of, like, you know, straight up math and how markets move that we were able to, you know, say, kind of see that correction coming. And then Trump coming in and saying this and that and all this and doing this, that, and the third just made it happen and just made the correction that we were already foreseeing make sense. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how technical analysis and fundamental analysis, which is like charts and news, you know, go together to make sure that we can make money, you know, if you know how to use it all right. But let's get back into it.
Viva,
So
what do you give them?
not improving right now.
I'm in the line of C only because it has not been a total catastrophe and it hasn't been a smashing success with only W's. It started off strong with pardoning the Jan 6ers and fulfilling a campaign promise to right that wrong in as much as humanly possible. You got RFK in, and you got RFK and Tulsi doing their thing, which is fantastic. On the immigration issue, he's going hard, being stopped by the courts, but going hard nonetheless and sensitizing America to how serious the problem is and how compromised and weaponized the courts are. Where it gets weak is, I'm going to focus on the Epstein just because, as far as I'm concerned, it's sort of that was a litmus test promise of the campaign, where Pam Bondi illustrating that she's either over her head, unqualified, or there's something more sinister going on, making bold and big promises and then fumbling those and leading to more questions than answers. Like, they were supposed to release those documents, and now, instead of releasing the documents, the Epstein files, the lead witness is dead within the same period of time. And so you'll have your questions about that, but that was a campaign promise that, by not fulfilling, will lead to skepticism among the hardest of the hardcore base. But by and large, it's been transformational thus far. There's room for improvement, and if he starts off with an A, then where does he go from there?
Yeah, I wanna speak on that before he moves on. Like, that was a big thing. I commented on it. I was like, hey, he's gonna da 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 woo, like, you know, just out of, like, you know, reiterating the information, honestly. But we haven't seen the fruits of that. Now, granted, he did give the FBI time, you know, but it's gotten messy since. So, you know, I say for his approval rating to probably go higher than 60%, shoot, higher than 55%, it'll probably have to come from, like, this whole files situation getting super clarified. I don't think if without that he goes above 55%. That's just like a little baseline prediction, I think, for his approval rating.
Well, as we all know, the last time he was the president, he came in, he was being spied on, and the Russia collusion thing happened. He couldn't be the president because he had to worry about that for 4 years. Now that he comes in, he has to worry about the 4 years of just the destruction that the Biden administration, I don't want to say Joe Biden, his administration did to get us all those things at him. The invasion, where all the mass deportation, all the inflation, the economy. He was left with crap. But if you think about it, the border is secured. Have you seen the border shut down? Okay, mass deportation. I don't give it. I want everybody to get the hell out of here. And we're gonna get into the judge stuff later. Tariffs reinstated. Which, guys, these deals behind closed doors, the India, the Apple thing, everything's happening. Everybody's panicking. They need to chill with all that. Signing the federal law banning biological men from playing with women. All the stuff. Declaring cartels terrorists and all that. I think he's doing a good job. I'm going B- because I'm with Viva again. I still believe, like, the accountability matters. And if we're going to be clean house, you have to clean all of it.
Vinny, why isn't he an A? Because you just were like, he did this, he did this, he did this.
Because
Why is it a B-?
I'm with him. When you promise something to me, and you know, you guys know where I stand when it comes to children and what they've done to children, and you just nailed it. The number one accuser of Epstein, of Ghislaine Maxwell, of Prince Andrew. The last one, she suicided herself. Are you after she was after she was hit by a bus? She looked like she was beaten up. She recovers and then she wants to kill.
Hey, I'm not responsible for anything these people say on their channel. YouTube, don't give me no strikes because I got I didn't even see it for a long time. Chat, I actually got a strike due to talking about some medical things. I don't even want to say the word because I got I got the strike. So I'm not fooling around with that. This is just my opinions. This is a bird's eye view take. So don't take anything that I say as a statement of fact, YouTube, outside of anything that I've stated that I've done. Okay.
Kill herself after she wrote a tweet saying she wouldn't do it. That to me is the biggest travesty, and I've said it before. Let justice be done and may the heavens fall. I don't care if we're built on that blackmail and that disgustingness, and you promise it to me. That's a B- for me because I want them all exposed because that's what we're sitting on.
Okay,
B-.
so let's go through the
B-
way I'm
though. I think
grading
that's
this. Okay.
That's a pretty. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty high grade for such like a non-fulfillment of a promise. You know what I mean? Like I feel like, granted, like I said, these are slightly more on the right side of life, folks. So it's gonna take a little bit more for them to take points away from Trump. But like on that tip, he's got like it's a D straight up from that like if that's a category in itself, just grading him on executing what he spoke about as far as what he was gonna do on the Epstein files and that whole Epstein case. Really, it was like he wet the bed on it. So I feel like it should take a little bit more away from his overall score, but maybe. Yeah, I think I would drop down to like that C- that I spoke about in the beginning. Like that's where that kind of still leaves me at. You know what I'm saying? It's probably gonna fluctuate a little bit as I hear stuff, get reminded of facts and events. But I think I'm pretty solid on the C- for execution. A for the plan. A- for the plan, but still C- for the execution so far.
To me, if you look at the way we grade everybody that's here with us, it goes off of A. A stands for attitude. I love his attitude. I think he's having fun. I think he's playing loose. I give him an A for attitude. Effort, he's working his ass off. Nobody is sitting there wondering if this guy's working or not, period. Teamwork, his team is working very well together collectively, better than what it was the first time around. Not a lot of people have been fired. It's not been as chaotic as it was before in regards to how the team was. Before, you're like, you could know who to trust, any of that stuff. And then you have innovation, creative, some of the stuff that they're proposing, Greenland, all this other stuff. I give it an A as well for that. But results, it's C-. To me, their grade right now is C- on results. First 100 days. When you go purely with results, we were told day one, there's going to be peace with Russia and Ukraine. It's day 100. There's no peace there.
It's worse. They're fighting.
Of course. I thought it was going to be a deal done there.
at each
I thought
other's
the
throats.
mineral deal was going to be gone. It's taking too long. The negotiation with Greenland, we needed that, or we needed Ukraine, or we needed something with minerals. Not done. Panama was supposed to close. Hasn't closed yet. Is America safer than ever before in the last 4 years? Absolutely. It's safer. Border. People are not coming across. Tom Homan's doing his job there. No problem. Kash Patel. On day, Glenn Beck is here.
Yep.
In 2 weeks, I'm telling you, in 2 weeks, nothing happened there. Okay, and Glenn Beck was just with the president last week, doing an interview in the Oval Office together. Okay, you got Epstein stuff. People that voted that wanted Epstein. What happened with that? It's not out yet. Are we supposed to forget about it? There was a massive community that specifically voted because they wanted people to be held accountable. Fauci, is there going to be accountability with Fauci? We don't know yet. The trade war, on how chaotic it is right now, someone's got to close the deal, whoever it is. If someone's got to get on a flight and go and negotiate, someone's got to do it. Next one, threats. When you threat Iran, if you do this, I'm telling you, Hamas, if you do this, I don't want to see my president keep threatening without being able to deliver on the threats. The more and more you keep saying threat, and nothing's happening, what are we looking at? I'm not okay with that. So
we're just looking at,
regard.
When you just threaten Iran for no reason over and over and over and over and you don't follow through on it, you get slowly rising oil costs. That's how that happens. Well, I mean, there's a lot of ways that happens, but it's a contributor when you got, you know what I'm saying, like this insinuation not having much follow through or anything like that.
Tom.
24-hour Gaza.
Yeah.
On that same list.
In regards to results, it's a C minus. And I voted for this guy in 16, in 20, and 24. Gladly. Happy I did. And it's a C minus today. I hope right now, and it's not, again, remember, it's not because of
Well,
attitude,
he's
it's the best
on the
attitude he's
same,
had.
the
He's
C
playing
minus,
loose.
the C
Not
minus
because of
side.
effort, not because the team's not working together, not because they're not being innovative, not because America's not safer, but there's so, by the way, this C minus within 30 days could turn into an A plus.
Mm-hmm.
This C minus within 30 days. But because so many things are in the hopper that are not closed, we can't give you a high grade. The market doesn't judge you based like today, all the criticism, oh my God, he's not doing this. Yeah, okay, you're right. What did I even tell you? It's not done yet, but it's 100 days. And the great thing about being a president is your administration is not judged on the first 100 days. That's just something market does because they need content. There's nothing going on, so they're like, let's talk about the first 100 days. And we're gonna do this. But that is my
Honestly,
grade for
we
the first 100
need
days.
content.
Couple of things. I mean, you mentioned the FBI, Cash Patel's supposed to come in and clean house, and then they had a couple of swings and misses where Cash says, we found a border agent who committed fraud on an insurance claim or whatever. There hasn't been a cleaning of house of the FBI yet. There was a
Nope.
bit of the disappointment of Matt Gaetz being pressured out of his position. But the reality is, I mean, he's answering letters to God, basically. I mean, when we went to the White House for one of these events that they were holding for alternative media, you realize what an industry, a machine that they are operating, where you see Tulsi Gabbard in the hallway, and she's also answering letters from God in terms of what is expected of her, what is demanded of her. So the judging harshly in terms of what they said they were going to do and what they've done in the first 100 days is not a destructive form of criticism. But they've got an immense job to do, and they've got 4 years to do it. You're right.
Yeah, no. It's not. I don't think the like judging the first 100 days is necessarily bad, but I like I said, I don't think it's you know, it doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of it as far as like if he does, you know, continue to get things done that was promised. It's not like he's not making good on any campaign promises, but a lot of the things that he said, like mentioned, you know, war ends on day one. You know what I'm saying? That didn't happen. we ain't got mineral richer at all. I think actually we've gotten more mineral poor in the past. Yeah, technically in the past month or so. So it's like our border's great. Our border's cool. There was a whole bunch of people that strictly voted just because they didn't like how our borders look. They're like, listen, the Democrats not gonna close the border. The Republicans are gonna close the border. I'm gonna just vote Republican this year. That was a lot of people. Cool. They're happy. They're chilling. You know what I'm saying? Now granted, there's a whole lot of people that, you know, aren't, I'm not going to say aren't worried about the border, but don't care that much, but really want to see those Epstein files. You know what I'm saying? Really want somebody to be held accountable for all of that, you know, crazy stuff, disgusting stuff that was, you know, going on the island. So, you know, the fact that hasn't happened has definitely left people a little in shock. But like Buddy mentioned, it's a really big machine that they're using and working through and working with. So I would say it is reasonable to give him some grace to get all of these things done, because he promised a lot of things. You know, he promised a lot of stuff, and if he would have got everything done in the first 100 days, then like, I mean, it would have been, you know, crazily extra historic, and you know, they don't even have the specific personnel to I think be able to even implement all of the things that they wanted to do in 100 days. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not 100% sure if anybody expected him to even do everything that he said he wanted to do in 100 days. I'm sure. Now, I know I didn't. There's quite a lot of, you know, different nuts and bolts you have to go through to get all of this stuff done. I'm not going to talk y'all heads off too much, but I'll leave, because we've kind of gone through the major topics, the major points that he failed on. He's hit on in this first 100 days. So my grading definitely stands firm at C- for execution right now. Now, in 30 days, could it change? It's not likely, but it could if a whole bunch of things just start happening, in sequence. For sure, it could definitely go up. But I think when we get closer to like the end of the summer, we'll start seeing some more headway, and then we'll start being able to revisit these conversations in a lot better context. All right. If you got some value out of this, make sure you hit that like button and that sub button and that bell icon. It tells the algorithm that this is good content and needs to be pushed forward. I like to give my take from a hedge fund manager, a trader, CEO's perspective, because market's going up, market's going down. It doesn't matter. We're going to make money either way. It's just a matter of like having the right context to make sure that we have the right, precision when we trade. All right. I love y'all. Make sure you're kind to somebody today. I'm going to catch you on the next one.